Still in the same file, so I have the orders edit.php file. If we navigate to the line with the client section, first of all, now we obviously have the full name of the client from within the order record. If I navigate to the order class, you can see our get order for the order user. We've obviously have concatenated the first and last name, and we have the index full name now. For the address, again, we checked if the second line isn't empty. If it is, we concatenate in the first and the second line together. Otherwise, we only display one. So we only need to use this address. It's automatically, obviously, figuring out whether the second line is there as well or not. Same for the shipping address. Then we have this country name, which I've mentioned earlier, and so on. So it's going to be a little bit easier now. If we go back to our index.php, first of all, we're going to change the first line here to order rather than user, and it's going to be a full name. And now we can remove this concatenation here. Next thing, actually, before this, if we just echo opening paragraph tag, let's enclose it within the paragraph, and then after the user email, a closing paragraph tag here. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to copy this order and paste it all over here. Again, because we've already concatenated the address 1 and 2 into the address, we don't need this address underscore 1 and a separate line for address 2. So we're going to keep it this way. But what we're also going to do, we're going to cut all this, and a country again. Here, another thing. If I just now copy this postcode, and after the postcode, we're going to have order country name. So we now obviously can display this this way rather than using the separate object, obviously, to then call the method and obviously figure out which country name it is by its ID. So what we're going to do is basically going to copy, rather than copy, we're going to cut all this, and we only leave the full name and the country name. We don't need this here. So obviously here we only have full name and the email address, and now we're going to create another table row, tr, and it's going to be th billing, closing th, td, colspan 4, and inside of this we open the PHP tag and close it, and in between we paste what we've just cut from the previous one. Now another thing, obviously, because we're using BRs here, let's wrap it inside of the paragraph tag as well, and then a closing one underneath. Let's remove this last BR from here and echo closing P paragraph. And now pretty much the same. If we just cut this whole billing block, paste it underneath and call it shipping. And obviously all of these indexes have to be preceded with a ship underscore. So shipping address, shipping town, county, postcode, and country. Now if we now save all this and preview it in a browser. So if I click on view under the order section, you can see that if I scroll down, obviously we don't see the client name. We see the email address, but we don't see any billing and shipping address. And this is because this specific order has been placed in 2010, obviously, so it's a while back. We haven't got any new orders placed with the shipping address and so on. We've modified the table, but obviously there are no data inside of this table. There's only one order that we are currently viewing on this system. Obviously you may have more, but still, if you haven't created any new orders using new approach with the shipping and billing address, you obviously won't have any value for these fields yet. So that's all good. Let's go back to our editor. And one last thing we need to do now is basically amend this URL here for the invoice button. So after the array action, then comma false, array, and the action, comma invoice. And we can now remove this concatenation here, save and close this file.